Hello. In our first video, we discussed the spatial scales that are tied to bioregional theory. Now that we have that in mind, we can begin to approach the principles of bioregional theory and the challenges that it attempts to address. Bioregionalism has a track record that includes semi-annual congresses over 2 decades. The Planet Drum Foundation and the Bioregional Congress have been documenting and archiving the congresses. An increasing number of universities now offer degrees in bioregionalism, including many in the USA, like the University of Idaho, Utah State University, the University of California, Davis, Montana State University, and University of Pennsylvania. Bioregional programs can also be found at universities in Mexico, Asia, Europe, and Australia, among other places. The number of organizations advocating bioregional principles, though not always identifying themselves as bioregionalists, is growing. In the USA, the New Economy Working Group, a progressive, multi-partner, action-oriented think tank, highlights the possibility and potential of localized living economies that support a healthy biosphere. EcoTrust, based in Portland, Oregon, operates an environmental bank, ecosystem investment fund, and a range of programs in fisheries, forestry, food, farms, and indigenous affairs. On a global scale, Bioneers, a group of social and scientific innovators, grows social capital by building bioregional and community-based alliances. The Global Action Research Center, also known as the Global ARC, uses bioregionalism as a framework to help connect the dots among diverse models of globally minded localization. Examples of their efforts include community gardens, watershed protection, greening of livelihoods, and infrastructure. The Global ARC is active in the San Diego-Tijuana border region. Bioregional initiatives conducted at the national, binational, and international scales do not necessarily advance the more radical aspects of bioregionalism, like authentic participatory democracy, communitarianism, subsidiarity, and mutual aid. Yet, national and international efforts may help reframe public discourse, thereby creating new opportunities to advance progressive bioregionalism on the ground locally. Across all scales of concern, local, regional, or global, bioregional theory maintains this core guiding principles. Human beings are social animals. If we are to survive and prosper as a species, we need healthy relationships and secure attachments with one another and with the land, water, habitat, plants, and animals upon which we depend. Taking this principle into account, bioregional theorists are grappling with the following grand challenges. First, rebuilding urban and rural communities at a human scale to nurture a healthy sense of place, secure attachments, and rootedness among community inhabitants. Second, reintegrating nature and human settlements in ways that holistically instill eco-efficiency, resilience, equity, and green cultural values into systems of production, consumption, and daily life. And third, making known and valuing how wildlands, working landscapes, ecological services, and rural livelihoods enable cities to exist. Bioregionalists tend to fault footloose transnational finance and the reckless growth of the world's resource-intensive global economy for many of the 21st century's increasingly complex problems. These include climate change, peak oil, peak fresh water, ecosystem degradation, eco-refugees, runaway economic speculation, food insecurity, poverty, and a widening gap between haves and have-nots. In view of such problems, bioregionalists advocate localization. Localization is a place-based strategy to create sustainable and resilient communities at a human scale. It encourages local investments in resources, livelihoods, and institutions that build the community's assets, including community power and capabilities. At the dawn of the 21st century, bioregionalism has an increasingly effective set of tools and concepts from which to draw, including locavore, locavesting, slow foods, food justice, green infrastructure, adapting in place, eco-districts, biocapacity, ecological footprint, business alliance for local living economies, local ownership and import substitution, community-based natural resource management, relocalization and reinhabitation. The efficacy of bioregionalism as a movement hinges on the application of such tools and concepts through learn by doing and living in place. At the same time, it is important to articulate a new narrative that can give these diverse efforts some coherence. This is where the promise of a bioregional justice comes into play. Bioregional justice differs from environmental justice in that greater emphasis is placed on A, ecosystems as common good assets, and B, human-nature relations as manifest in human settlement patterns at a regional scale. This emphasis stands in contradistinction to environmental justice's emphasis on the inequitable distribution of costs associated with pollution and environmental degradation. Bioregional justice integrates multiple layers of justice, including social, economic, environmental, procedural, restorative, and global, by advancing a unifying place-based approach to improving the land, ecosystems, and urban-rural relationships in a particular bioregion. Bioregional justice ensures that the benefits, opportunities, and risks arising from creating, operating, and living in a territorially bounded network of human settlements, for example, a bioregion, where urban-rural wildland spaces co-evolve socially, culturally, and ecologically, are shared equitably through healthy relationships and secure place-based attachments. Bioregional justice seeks equity and fairness in how a bioregion's assets, including nature's sources, sinks, and ecosystems needed for life and living, are accessed, utilized, and sustainably conserved for current and future generations. Nurturing bioregional justice and imagination is especially important right now. Thayer expresses hopes that as bioregional groups struggle to re-inhabit their life place, a distinctly regional art, aesthetics, literature, poetics, and music can evolve from and support bioregional culture. This hope has deep roots. It resonates with a view expressed 3/4 of a century ago by Lewis Mumford. In his classic work, The Culture of Cities, Mumford eloquently argued that the reanimation and rebuilding of regions as deliberate works of collective art is the grand task of politics for the coming generation. This statement rings as true today as it did 75 years ago. Thanks for watching.